All right. Welcome to another live. Today is day 5 of me consecutively going to 30, right? This is day 5 of me going consecutively to day 30. I can do it. I'm going to do 30 days straight. I got really good energy right now. So, we're going to teach today. I asked for comments to come in. Got a few people that left about some topics that they wanted me to cover. We perhaps we will get a chance to get to those topics. But today I want to teach, right? So, this form of teaching and what we do inside of our community is similar to what I'm going to do on this live. I'm going to give you some ways that we evaluate land. I'm going to show you how we think about it when it comes up on our mind or comes up on the screen and how we make decisions. This is going to be a good one. You may want to take notes on this. So, this is a real life case scenario that I'm going to present to you. First and foremost, I must start off by saying my name is Ray Smith, one half of the Acre Boys. The Acre Boys are active land investors, meaning that we are in the field with you in real time. We are investors. Do you need a license to be an investor? No, let's kill that myth. You just need a burning desire to learn a new skill set. By the way, let me say this: what I said on my master class last night. Why not learn a new skill set that has been here since the beginning of time? These are not new practices and techniques that we're using. This has been going on right underneath your nose forever. Buying from tax sale auctions is not a new thing. This is not new. All right. This has been going on forever and will continue to go on as long as people own homes and properties and pay taxes. So before I start this, let me set the stage by saying this property that we're going to evaluate comes from a tax sale auction, a tax deed auction. What is a tax deed auction? A tax deed auction is when a homeowner or a landowner owns a property and they fail to pay the taxes on the property. The county that property sits in will send out notices to pay. Then if you don't adhere to those notices, they'll slap a lien on your property. Eventually, let's fast forward, they'll foreclose on your property. The county or state will become the owner of the property. Then they'll auction it off at what they call a tax deed auction, a tax lien auction, a redemption auction, what's some other terms? Foreclosure auction, sheriff sales auction. There's all kind of different terminologies that they use to name these auctions. By the way, I got a do-it-yourself program that breaks down everything about tax sale investing. All of those terminologies that I just mentioned, inside of that program, we cover all of that so you can go and do some tax sale investing on your own. Great program there, the do-it-yourself program. Now, let's set the stage. We offer weekly training inside of our community. So this deal that I'm going to show you on the screen, one of my investors brought it to the table and said, hey, can you evaluate this land deal for me? I want to purchase it. I just want to be sure that it's a good deal. Let's pause there. Now, that's the purpose, the prime purpose of mentorship. So you can have an extra set of eyes review your deals, especially as a new investor taking on a new endeavor, right? Things can be a little overwhelming, right? It may cause a little anxiety when you're a brand new investor. How do I know? Because I once had a day one, too. I once had a beginning. So I know these things. When you're a new investor and you're talking about spending $5,000 on the property, you want to cross all your T's and dot all your I's. So would I. And you should, because we don't want to lose any money, especially $5,000. I'm sure you can find some good places to spend or put $5,000. So she did the smart thing. She brought the deal to the table and said, hey, I need you to sign off on this deal and let me know your thoughts on this deal. So let's look at what this deal is. All right. Let me see. If y'all have any comments, let's have a good time with this. Drop your comments down below if you have any. Let's have a good time with this. So let's take a look at this deal. So here's the deal. 3.66 acres, right? Now, what are you looking at on the screen? I'm going to go super slow because I'm not going to assume what you know and what you don't know. So I'm going to try and take this from the very beginner, like Land Investing for Dummies 101. All right. Not calling you a dummy, but they have those books, How to Build a Home for Dummies, just simplifying things to the best that I could. All right. So what you're looking at on the screen, this is a GIS map. This is a plat map. And you see the property that is outlined in blue, that is the property that we are referring to. That's the 3.66 acres. It is or was on sale at a tax sale auction. They were asking $5,000 for the property. Now, first thing that I noticed is you see all of these other cutout blocks in this plat map. This is representative of other properties. Other homes sit on these parcels. Each one of these are broken down into a lot or parcel, individual parcel, and a home sits on each of these lots. These homes are broken down into probably a 0.25 or 0.30 of an acre, right? So now this is a 0.3, this is a 3.66 acre. So if I just chopped up these same size blocks out of this 3 acre, I probably would be able to get, I don't know, 10 to 15 homes. 3, maybe 4, 8, 12, maybe max, maybe 15 homes out of this 3 acres. Okay. So that's how big 3 acres is. And if we were to chop it up or subdivide it, we should be able to get about 15 homes out of this lot. This is why I'm wondering now, why would a 3 acre? And as you look around, you don't have to be a genius or expert to know this. As you look around, there's no other land that's available. That's the first thing that we notice, right? There's no other land on this image that is available. This to the left of it or the west of it is a commercial building. So if I could zoom out, which I can't right now, you would see that this whole area is fully developed. That is another thing that alarms me as a new investor. You may start greasing your palms because you would think this is where I want to be, in an area that's fully developed, right? And it looks good. That is a good way to think. But as an experienced eye, coming from an auction, it makes me scratch my head and say, well, why or how did a 3 acre get to the tax sale auction? Now, it could be a good buy. Maybe it's not. We don't know. This is some of the homework that we have to do to figure out if it's a good deal or not a good deal, right? Don't jump the gun yet, right? We have to reverse engineer this. You look at it probably from the perspective of how much money would I make? I look at it as how much potential money could you lose if this does not go well? So it needs to go well. That's why the homework must be done on the front end, and you must be good at doing homework on the front end because this has to go well. All right. So 3 acres in a crowded area. And let me show you this image. The 3 acres sits right behind this nice, well-manicured lawn home, right? It sits there. And then let me show you the neighborhood that it sits in. Here's the neighborhood. That's the back of that home that we just seen. And then as you see, paved road frontage on this side and the other side of the lot. So you have road frontage on 2 sides of the lots. In this world is a plus to have road frontage on 2 sides. And as you see the lot, nice flat lot, nothing wrong, no slopes. It looks excellent. You see the electric poles on the side of the lot. It has everything that you would want a lot to have. So once again, you're probably getting excited and saying, well, $5,000, this lot is, I'm ready to run to the bank and spend my $5,000. But for me, it makes me say, well, what is wrong with the lot that is at the tax sale auction for $5,000 in this beautiful neighborhood. What is really wrong with this lot, if anything? I could be right, I could be wrong. I don't know yet. So we have to do homework to make sure we're doing the right thing when purchasing these lots. All right. So, first thing you would check, let's check and see if this property is in a flood zone. So, I can't do it on this live because I don't have the capabilities to do it. That's why I need you inside of the community so we can really dig in. But you'll get the gist of some of the homework that we do on this live. So, first thing we would check is the property wet? Right? That would tell a lot to me. Maybe the property is not buildable. Maybe the property is not suitable for a septic or well, or the soil. Maybe something is wrong with it in that regard because it's wet. So I've checked that. Property is not wet. Then we would check wetlands. Now, if there's wetlands on the property, you can build a property in a flood zone. So there's two things. I don't want you to get confused. You can build in a flood zone. You would just need flood insurance. Okay. But wetlands is different from floodplain. Wetlands just means that the property is wet. You cannot build in wetlands. So I checked wetlands and no wetlands on the property. Now I'm scratching my head even more. 3.66 acres in this nice neighborhood, not wet. Property is flat as ever. Electricity at the pole, at the front of the property, at the side of the property, the curb side of the property. You can tell water's in the area. How do we know that water is coming from the county in the area? Because there's homes in the area. So that says that city sewage is in the area because all these houses have it. Right? So I'm now really saying, how is this happening? What is going on here? I want to tell her, good lot. It's a good lot. You should run out and go and get it. But if we're wrong, she loses $5,000. Because our belief, here's our belief. Anytime we're buying from auctions, tax sale auctions, and we start to see large acreage in residential communities, it's a big pause for us. I'm not saying that it's a no. It's a big pause and say, go the extra mile and figure out how is large acreage. In this case, 3 acres would be deemed larger acreage coming from a tax sale auction in a residential neighborhood. Now, if this was 3 acres and it was out in a rural area or in the desert plain or something like that, they have those at auctions. We see those all the time. I wouldn't have to really scratch my head so much because that's not uncommon. But 3 acres that was lost to a tax sale auction. Let me understand the process so you'll understand the process when properties go to a tax sale auction. You don't just not pay your taxes and then the next week they're at the auction. That's not how that works. They send out several notices for you to pay your taxes. Several. Sometimes the process to foreclose on these properties, depending on the county, can take a couple of years. So it's not like you just don't pay your taxes and then next week it goes to the auction. This has had several notices to the homeowner to pay their taxes. Somebody wrote on my Instagram wall, perhaps this is somebody that's deceased. Maybe, but no family around that received the notices. She didn't leave a well-to-do, or he didn't leave a well-to-do 3.6 acres to no one in their family, right? You have to start to think like this. So someone just passed away and they had no kin. They didn't decide to leave their asset to anybody. It wasn't wrote in the will. They just left it there for the Acre boys to come and find and make money off of, right? That's how we think. So this property was just left there for this investor in my community to come and buy for $5,000. This property will sell probably upwards of $50,000 or more. And it was just left there for us. That will be great if that was the case. And sometimes that is the case. But this is how your thought process has to be when we are evaluating these properties. Don't get so excited, especially coming from the auction. All right. So I need to figure out what's the deal with the property. How do I go about figuring that out? So there's something that's called county work. Now, regardless of what I feel, regardless of what I think, the county is going to be the ones ultimately to make the decision on what could be done with this property, right? So my advice to my investor was contact the county, first of all, contact zoning, contact what's the name I'm looking for? Contact I forgot what the name I'm looking for, but contact the department that will let you know if this is a buildable lot and what they have on record about the lot. That's what we need to know. Some counties, easy to work with. Some counties, not so easy to work with. Hopefully, this county is easy for her. I'm not making the phone call. It's not my deal, right? We tell you the advice and give you the game of what to do. It is up to you to go out and handle your business and handle your deal. So hopefully she called down there and made contact with somebody from the county, and hopefully someone shed some insight on what's going on with the lot. Everything that we were supposed to evaluate checks out, right? Road frontage checks out. What is road frontage? Where it says Yale Road, that's road frontage. Where it says Barlett Boulevard, that's road frontage. It's an extra plus when there's road frontage on both sides. So it checks out road frontage. Property's not wet. Property doesn't sit in the floodplain. There's houses built in it. Adjacent to it, we have proof of concept of what could be done with the lot because there's houses all around, right? Then I pulled the comps on it. These houses, this house right here, sold for I believe 390 or something like that. Homes are selling for upwards, averaging out around 350 to 360. Some go as high as 400,000 in this area. Okay, so now, if the county okays this, if the county says yes, we have on record this is a buildable lot. If the county says this is what it's zoned for, it's zoned residential and this X, Y, and Z can be placed on the property, right? If all of these things check out, then and only do you proceed moving forward. Forget what your emotions might say or what your eyes may see. Go by what the county says. The county will determine what can be done with the lot. But speak to as many as people that you need to speak to be comfortable before you spend $5,000 on the lot. If the county told you it was a buildable lot, then it is a buildable lot. All right. That is the only way we can verify that is by contacting the county. So hopefully for her, once she called down to the county and done her due diligence, this is why I always say, even when we're selling properties, it is not my job. Even if I'm selling it to you, it's not my job to do your homework and make sure that lots are buildable. That is the job of the person buying the lot. Just like we reviewed this lot briefly, not even briefly. Now we're in 15, 16 minutes, right? You have to do that type of homework when you're buying land. You're responsible for doing that type of homework on every deal, right? This is a business. You wouldn't, buy a pair of sneakers if you didn't go and try them on or go and look at them. You have to do your due diligence on properties just to make sure everything's checked out. I've seen lots like this at auctions that didn't check out. And there's always a reason that properties are left at the auction. Sometimes it's just simply because nobody wanted it. Sometimes they just forgot to pay the taxes. Sometimes they lost it because they didn't have the money, right? Sometimes it's all kind of reasons how they get there, but it's very rare that large acreage slips through the cracks in residential areas. So anytime, if you're inside of my community, you can bring the deals to us. If you're on your own, our suggestion is find out why is large acreage, as you can see, everything here is small lots. So how did this nice piece make it to the auction? Hope that makes sense. I hope that shed a little bit of light on how we think and when we're evaluating these deals. And we sit as a community on our calls for about 2 hours. And this is what we do. We evaluate deals. We look at price points. If this lot was a good lot to buy, next I would go and I would find out what the area is selling for. And I would give my investor my opinion on what she should list the property for. That's what we would do next. So we walk you all the way through. As I always state, you're buying land by yourself, but you're not alone in your endeavors because we're here every step of the way with you if you want us to be. Then once you become more experienced, then you can start to pull away some if you like to pull away. We have some investors that's been in the community for a few years now. We only, since the whole 2 years, and they just want to be involved. Sometimes they still need things to be checked on. So that's what we're there for, especially for new investors. This was not an easy deal to evaluate for a person with untrained eyes. Wasn't the easiest deal to evaluate because I know you just saw a great looking lot and you didn't think about all of those things. All right, so let me remove that. That's what the inside of our community, a glimpse of what it'll look like when we're evaluating land deals. That is a tax that comes from a tax auction. And we evaluate anything from properties from a tax sale auction on from properties from an owner that can be a 2-acre or a 40-acre, right? Drop below if you like these kind of trainings or what I just did now. We can do more of these. I told you I'm going 30 days straight. So if you like these type of live trainings, maybe we can dig in more of these. All right. I don't mind. It just depends, to be honest with you, if I have the time. But I am going to stick to that 30 days because I'm fighting myself to stay committed to what I said I was going to do. That is the game, the whole game. Forget selling land. The whole game is just to stay consistent into what you're into, right? And that's why I'm pushing myself to complete these 30 days because we must push ourselves to change ourselves and stay committed and stay consistent. That's when you see change and that's when you get results. So here I am today on day 5, staying committed and staying consistent to what I said I was going to do. All right. I suggest that you be the same and do the same in your respective endeavors and whatever you have going on. That is how we see change and get better. All right. That's going to be it for this actual live. As I stated, if you enjoyed that, if you found this useful, drop the comments below and we can get you started. I see Betty Taylor saying, can you text? So she have some questions on the land. I'll do you one better. I'm going to give you a number to text and someone from our team will communicate with you. Let me know, Miss Betty Tyler, I'm sorry. Let me know if you got that. Can you see that? Text that number and someone on my side can get back to you. All right. And if anybody else, if you're looking to be involved in our community now, well, I don't know. I believe we're almost halfway through the year, right? We're going to start to be a little more, push the envelope a little more, right? If you're looking to be a part of our community, get off the fence, right? Let's get over the fence. If this resonates with you, make some decisions, right? If it's the money that you don't have, save the money. If you're looking to learn a new skill set, you have to save yourself, right? Information costs, right? We do our best. I'm on a free training, giving you all that I could give you. You have to get yourself on the inside so you can really get the game and get the sauce so you can move a lot faster. All right. Let's make some decisions moving forward. If this is for you, great. Let's have a conversation and see if we could get you started. If we are not for you, no hard feelings. We will still be out giving much as information, free information that we possibly can. Do it on your own. I'm just trying to encourage people to get involved because I know what this can do. I know what it has done for me and my partner. It has allowed us to leave our 9-to-5 jobs and do this on a full-time basis. Coming out as a beginner, this will be an excellent source of side money, but you have to get yourself involved, right? Does it hurt to go out and make an extra $3,000 a month, an extra $4,000 a month? Would that hurt you? This is real estate, and we have done a good job in putting you in position at the lowest prices that we possibly can. Now let's talk to people that are more well-to-do, that may have a bigger budget and understand that it's going to take some to get some. Because I'm moving out of the season of just catering to people that's claiming that they don't have money. I'm sick of hearing that because we spend the most. Now I'm ranting. Was we spend the most? My culture spends the most on bullshit. So you have the money. You just deciding to put your money on what you deem to be important. So I'm trying to tell you something that can actually help you and your loved ones. Get yourself involved, and I can speak it because I'm in the culture. I know the culture. All right. So let's be a little pushy with this. You have the money. If this makes sense to you, get involved. You're only wasting your time. This will happen regardless or not. I'm just telling you, take advantage of what's there inside of our community. We spell it out for you. I'm not telling you that you have to be an expert coming out the gate. You just need to be reachable and teachable, willing to learn, right? Willing to know that you don't know until you know. Put the work in, then you'll know. Then you'll be able to stand on your own. This is a skill set that you can pass down to your loved ones. This is a skill set that you can pass down to your children. As I stated, this has been around since the beginning of time. How long has people been buying tax auction properties? Do you think they intend on stopping? They don't want you involved. That's what you don't know. They don't want you involved. Investors that buy tax bought properties, one thing that they dream of is going to an auction and nobody's there. They don't want you involved. So I'm telling you, get involved. Why miss out on? Somebody might be thinking now, oh, you just want me to be inside of your program and make your money. If that's your mindset, don't give me your money. Find somebody else to give it to. Just get involved because it's going to happen regardless. But we sit back and watch everything just go by us. Then we say, what just happened? Watching things happen instead of making things happen. And then we sit back and say, what just happened? Get in the game. Like, I found that in the beginning that most people don't get in the game because, it's the native tongue. People, they relate to people, places, and things that they can relate to, that sound like them, that look like them. So it's not a whole lot of us that look like us that's inside of the space. So now that there is, what's the excuse now? Phil said, do we have to be a member to joint venture? No, you don't have to be a member to joint venture. A good deal should not go wasted. However, if anybody thinks about sending us a deal, it must be an off-market deal, right? And just try to make sure it's a good deal. We have a lot of people send us a lot of things. So, once we do look at them, if it doesn't jump out at us off the rip, then it's kind of tough to get back to it. So, but if you have a deal, you can email it over to acreboys@gmail.com. When you email it over, just put the county that it comes from, the parcel number, and the price that it's going for. And we can lay eyes on it. If it makes sense, we'll respond. If it doesn't make sense, we probably won't respond back. All right. So I'm going to go. This was really good. As I stated, if you find these interesting, we can do more of these. Day 5, I'm going 30 days straight, which means that I'm required to do this even on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. Are you willing to put that time in? Are you willing to stay dedicated? Are you willing to stay consistent? Are you willing to stay committed? If not, probably why you're in the same situation that you was in last year. Let's just talk real. It's not genius what we're doing. It's just that we learned something and we stayed with it. We stayed committed to it. We stayed consistent with it. If you do those things, you'll get good at anything. All right. You enjoy your weekend, your Friday, and tap back in tomorrow. Day 6. I'm gonna get through the 30. Promise you, I'm gonna get through the 30. Peace.